What if PUMPKABOO was in Gen 1 7U? We finally reached the conclusion of this weird PUMPKABOO saga. For those of you who didn't see yesterday's video, I just want a quick TLDR. Basically, I was super convinced that the nefarious YouTuber Easalicious was behind all of the strange things happening, and was also PUMPKABOO 5K, or PUMPKABOO fan 5K, who tried attacking me and attacked some Gen 1 Pokemon. I was wrong. It was my little brother Convex, and with the fight against PUMPKABOO, it sort of ended with Caterpie sort of dying and sacrificing herself. I know this sounds really weird to some of you guys who aren't caught up with my channel. I have a playlist of the entire PUMPKABOO saga. You could watch it and quickly get yourself caught up. But, yeah, I was wrong. It wasn't Issa who did all this. So as an apology, I'm sort of doing a video on what if PUMPKABOO was in Generation 1, but legitimately. But not just like a joke video. And yeah, PUMPKABOO, because they're ghost type, they didn't actually die in the Great Battle yesterday. But luckily, putting them in Gen 7, or not Gen 7, 7U, will be kind of interesting. Because I'm pretty sure the tier just doesn't have a ghost type. I think Ghastly is a 6U Pokemon, maybe a little bit higher. So yeah, this should be intriguing. Now, where do we start? I guess we start off with that typing. Now, like I just said, there's no ghost types in 7U, which is part of the reason why Pokemon like Meowth is so good, and my other Pokemon like Farfetch are also like pretty decent as well. They hit really hard, and Slash is pretty much just a button you can press in 7U without any real repercussions. But having PUMPKABOO in there will change a lot of stuff. Like, two of the best Pokemon in the tier, Meowth and Golbat, only really have normal moves to fight back with. They have some coverage, like Thunderbolt, Bubble Beam, and Mega Drain, but all three of those PUMPKABOO's grass typing handles very easily. So it's actually really insane how good just a ghost grass type is. Although it's not perfect, the water types still have Blizzard, and Charmeleon, probably the second best Pokemon. And to be honest, with our huge Meowth nerf, it might end up being the best. Probably not, but I do think it would finally be definitively better than Golbat. But regardless of that though, PUMPKABOO, even without like just looking at this typing, its moveset would also be okay. It has a few options. More options than some other Pokemon. Ironically, it has more options than both Golbat and Meowth. The stats, however, are kind of lacking. It's not the worst in any category, but it's not the best either. So with 56 speed, it can most of the time crit with Razor Leaf. I think there's a small chance that it doesn't. In fact, I think while making my replays, there was at least one time when it didn't crit. But for the most part, you rely on it. And I'm specifically using the small PUMPKABOO variant, because that's the fastest one. And I'm not sure if the others really matter. Like, they might have more HP, but I don't know. Like, you guys can, like, look at the crit rates yourself. If even, like, the 56 is not guaranteed crit rate, maybe using the super or, like, the large might be better, because you have more HP. But it's also just HP in the 50s. So, like, is that really going to save you from, like, a Fire Blast, Fire Spin, or Blizzard? It's probably not. So, like, as for the moves, though, it has Explosion, which is pretty good. How strong is Geodude and Cloyster? Geodude is base 80 attack. Okay, so, not the strongest Explosion in the game, but it's still pretty strong. It has Fire Blast and Flamethrower, and that base 44 when not using Razor Leaf is pretty bad. Although I guess it's worth looking into. Like, you want to use it as, like, let's say a nice tech option against Ivysaur, that you can very well do that. And even though you might still lose the Sweet Powder, that can still be a good way of, like, taking them on. And also, while doing this right now, I forgot to put Vanadite on the tier list. Hopefully I remember by the end of the video. But we also got Leech Seed, which I personally just used on pretty much all of my sets. And it's just because it helps. It's just good chip damage. It also like helps heal you, keeping you healthy, because you can tank like a hit or two from non-super effective stuff, but it adds up very quickly. So to gain just a little bit of that extra health is good, while also like putting some Pokemon in a better damage range. Because again, Razor Leaf, it's always going to be a crit for the most part, but it still doesn't do as much damage as you would want it to, unless you're hitting a water type. So that's where Leech Seed comes in. Light Screen is another pretty good option, because you do take special hits like pretty hard. So being able to like weaken that a little bit, it's good. It can help you like survive some matchups where you would usually struggle. Maybe Psychic, like I guess the special drop is nice, but I just don't really think it's worth it. And Rock Slide is probably your only real physical move, I guess, because oh my god, guys, Pumpkaboo doesn't get Hyper Beam. But to be honest, whenever I did use Rock Slide on, let's say, Pokemon like Golbat were super effective, it was really underwhelming. So there's a good chance that it's not even worth it. And you probably wouldn't even use Hyper Beam if you had it. And obviously, like most Pokemon, there's Substitute and Toxic, but it's Gen 1, not the best thing in the world. Maybe Confuse Ray? Like, I know Confuse Ray is good on Golbat, but I think that's a lot of it just has to do with Golbat having such huge base stats. And also, we will give Pumpkaboo its signature move Trick or Treat, but to no one's surprise, it's not very good. So let's just go with, this is like probably just your standard moveset. You can obviously change it a little bit, but Explosion and Razor Leaf are pretty good. It's not going to be like the best. Like, I don't think Pumpkaboo is going to be the best Pokemon in the tier. But being able to so easily counter some of the best Pokemon like Meowth, Golbat, and Farfetch, as well as others like, let's say, Geodude and Rhyhorn, and Psyduck, they're going to feel the impact. It's definitely going to be one of the best Pokemon. Like, I actually wouldn't be surprised if it either became like the 4th best, or maybe even like managed to like contest with both Golbat as like maybe the 3rd Pokemon. And I also would be surprised if Pumpkaboo became one of those Pokemon that you must have on every team. In fact, I would actually bet a lot of money on that. It would become one of the Pokemon that you need to put in all of your teams, because it really does wall Meowth and Golbat so much. But let's just get into the replays now, shall we? Now, starting with the boy himself, Meowth. And like I've been saying, Meowth has no way of hurting Pumpkaboo. And also, like I've been saying, Razor Leaf doesn't do about as much as you want. I think Meowth has a base 20 HP, and despite of that, Razor Leaf is only a 3-hit KO. Like, look at that. That's sad. And Meowth, despite only having Thunderbolt, put some decent like chip damage in on Pumpkaboo too. It's at half, like lost half his HP, which now you can also probably see why something like Leech Seed is also sort of needed on Pumpkaboo. It's not the best, but whatever. And against Charmeleon, we always gotta switch sides because, geez, that back spread is ugly. But yeah, there's absolutely nothing you can do against Charmeleon. It is an unwinnable matchup. And they just easily just kill you with Fire Blast. It's very sad. Now this Golbat replay was really interesting, because like since Mega Drain it does like jack to you, your only real way of hurting Pumpkaboo is with Confuse Ray. And with this matchup, Golbat got really lucky. It was kind of hard to watch, let alone play, since I have to make these replays. And I don't know if Pumpkaboo got to hit Golbat with Rock Slide yet. I don't think so. But it's sad. Like, really sad. Like, it misses a Rock Slide too, just like to add insult to injury. So I can't really tell if, yeah, it's like 34%. Like, that's, see what I mean? Like 34% on super effective Rock Slide. It's kind of pathetic. So like maybe even using something like Fire Blast is better, because at this point I feel like Fire Blast would give you better coverage. But then again, you can't really hurt Gold Bell with Razor Leaf, so maybe you need Rock. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Like Punkaboo is really good at walling stuff, but offensively it lacks a lot. Probably not as bad as Voltorb though, who only has electric moves. So, but even against Electrode, it's really weak, and yeah, there you go. See, it didn't crit there, like just like I was telling you guys. But yeah, but even against Voltorb, it's still a 3-hit KO on a critical Razor Leaf. It's sad. It's really sad, but it's like I sort of think it's a good thing, because if Punkaboo can just wall two of the best Pokemon in the game, as well as the best attacking moves in the game, while also, you know, just being able to hit really hard, that might make it a little too good. Right now, it feels Punkaboo, while having a really good, you know, advantage, is also pretty balanced. Because the grass typing, while being really helpful for resisting, you know, water, electric, and grass, also gives you a blizzard weakness, which can also help balance things out in the tier. If Punkaboo was, let's say, a ghost poison type, no doubt in my mind, it would be like banned or in 6U, maybe even better. But here, I think it's fine. Maybe not against Ivysaur. Against Ivysaur, you can just Sweet Powder, and then Ivysaur's Razor Leaf is a 4-hit KO. And since Ivysaur is a grass poison type, something tells me you can't 4-hit KO it in return. In fact, even your Rock Slide is pathetic. Not even 20% damage. So, in some ways, Punkaboo has a worse matchup against Ivysaur than it does against Charmeleon. Because at least with Charmeleon, you have like a Rock Slide, you have something. I guess you have Fire Blast, but considering Ivysaur's faster, I can just put you to sleep. It doesn't really matter. So it's up to you. No one's surprised. Rhyhorn, this is a one-shot. Geodude would also be a one-shot. I don't remember if I made that a replay or not. And I got Hitmonchan. Ice Punch does a pretty good amount to you. And you kind of need Leech Seed in order to actually survive long enough to actually take it out. Which, yeah, Hitmonchan has a 35 special. That's really sad. If you don't use Leech Seed, you can also still win with, let's say, Light Screen. But it's not the best thing in the world. It's a match that can go either way. And to be honest, Hitmonchan can easily win if it gets a crit or two. Or probably just one crit's good enough. And then even Explosion is just not good enough to kill Nidorino. Which kind of surprised me, but also didn't really surprise me at the same time. It's kind of weird. Let me quickly, yeah. And against Clefairy, a lot of different movesets, so it just really depends on what you're actually using on it. But I think most Clefairies run Blizzard, and without Light Screen, it seems like Blizzard would just easily 2-hit KO you. And Explosion doesn't OHKO, but Clefairy's supposed to try to be like Chansey, so if you use Explosion, you basically won already, for the most part. And against Beedrill, I think a lot of Beedrill sets only have Hyper Beam as like a physical move, so against those you just sort of auto win. But with others that use Twin Needle, luckily like Beedrill's one of the few Pokemon where Rock Slide actually does do good damage, although you still need Leech Seed to actually 2-hit KO it. But it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it can go either way, but with Rock Slide and probably with Fire Blast, it's very much in your favor. So you can't complain really. And next off, we have Goldeen, and you wish you could take out Goldeen, you really do. But since Goldeen's faster, has Blizzard, it's probably going to kill you. But you're going to put in red health, so it means the Goldeen's job of being a sweeper with agility, it makes it that much harder. Not to mention, Goldeen's real way of fighting water types, or its only way, is just with Double Edge. So using Razor to put that red can just ends the sweep right then and there. So not the worst thing in the world. And against Psyduck, the Amnesia Sweeper, because of Razor Leaf always critting and you being faster, Psyduck can't actually afford to go for Amnesia, which means that Pumpkaboo can just murder with Razor Leaf. You're going to take damage from Blizzard, but you can either Leech Seed it later or just find an opportunity to go for an Explosion. So overall, not that bad. I skipped a few other Pokemon, but also, where's Venonat? Yeah, let's not forget about Venonat. Alright. Venonat's probably a bad matchup, but with Rock Smash and Fire Blast, you can have ways of hitting it. Although, Venonat having Sweet Powder is definitely annoying. But here's the list. It's really good, actually. Not better than I presumed. Did just about as good as I expected to do. But yeah, Pumpkaboo, I think, well, some people might think it would be too overpowered to be in Generation 1, 7U. I think it fits perfectly well. Because yes, there is a lot of stuff here that just auto wins against. But at the same time, like Pokemon like Charmeleon, Ivysaur, and Naruto can just delete it. And even with Pokemon that's a good matchup against, like Golbat and Meowth, they can get a lot of hits in on it. So even with a Pokemon that it walls, they can still get like a little bit of a job done. So I think it's fair. But now it's time for a more pressing issue. Because of the shenanigans that happened with Convex and these Pumpkaboos, the Pokemon from yesterday's battle still weren't able to recover. So along with the Pokemon that died the day before, Mewtwo, Mew, Chansey, Snorlax, Exeggutor, you also have now Tauros, Charizard, Persian, Starmie, Rhydon, and Caterpie, who are sadly no longer with us. And because of that, there's not really an OU anymore. There's only Alakazam, Slowbro, and Cloyster, and there's just flat out no Jumbo and Ubers. And with Caterpie and integral part of 10U videos down, it means that I can only do 7U videos from now on, which is sad. There is only one way to bring back Caterpie, who in turn can bring back the rest of the Pokemon. It is by subscribing to the channel. If we can get this channel to 500 subscribers, not only will it bring back Caterpie, but with her power, she can also bring back the rest of the Pokemon, which means that I can go back to making like the videos that I normally make. So it's up to you, my loyal subscribers, to help bring back the rest of the crew so that we can get things back to normal. Doesn't that sound great? But what do you think about Pumpkaboo and 7U? Do you think it would be OP? Do you think it's balanced enough? And do you think it would be a must-have? Or even have the potential to be better than what's a Golbat? Let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.